What is up? What is up, YouTube? Daniel back here for another video for the channel. I can't clap today because I don't have a stand for the camera. But if you are new here, my name is Daniel. I help people with getting to their 10.0 self as fast as possible using their habits with fitness, mentality, nutrition as well, and also relationships. So for this topic, as you can see, this will be about something that I realized I was doing wrong for most of my life. I kind of adopted the habit of reading. I would say probably when I was like 21, 22, I went through like a stint of just buying a lot of books, self-help books, and thinking, oh, if I read these, then I'll just absorb. And essentially, what I found is that it will never actually, reach the level of um, understanding unless you actually study a book. So reading a book, I just see it as like reading a newspaper. So it's just kind of just skimming through. You kind of like you get some inspiration and some good, positive feeling about what you read. Maybe it'll kind of bring an idea, but it'll never really stick with you unless you actually start to underline it, start to reflect what you're doing. This is part of my morning routine. So I share it on my Instagram, Mr. Daniel Arsley. But essentially, wake up in the morning. I will take a cold shower. Um, have a practice of gratitude, talk to God, thank him essentially for, the opportunity he's giving me with life and the moment he's giving me. I'll cold shower as well. And then, like I mentioned, and then I'll go to the gym and then I'll come back and read and reflect on what I read. And also journaling will help to essentially write about the person I'm trying to be. So I'll have like, affirmation stuff that I write there as well. But essentially I've gotten to the practice of just having a few books that I read, and essentially I've committed to just having, I would say like 5 or 6 books I'm reading now, and just not buying any more for the next couple of years because I've really been sold on the idea of studying a book as opposed to just reading it, almost treating it like a textbook. In school, you're essentially expected to study the information, and that's how essentially how it is ingrained in your mind. So why not do the same with books? Books have way more potent information than just textbooks. And these ideas, if you use them and apply them, underline them, study them, like repeat them over and over in your mind, and you do this for years, you can do this with one book. You can choose the best book. The one I would advise is Think and Grow Rich. Is essentially a manual for reprogramming your mind, like step by step, and just basically inputting whatever thoughts you want to have and the person you want to be into your subconscious mind, which is your autopilot, and which basically 95% of your results come from. And this is essentially what you can read. And most people swear by this book and they just read it over and over and study it. And one person, even his name is Bob Proctor, who studied it for like 60 years. And he basically was able to, you could say, instill or embody that whole book, and essentially is able to manifest whatever you want. So it really is important to begin to study what you're reading. Dedicate maybe a few months to one book, and then you can switch. But I mean, don't just think that, oh, I read 50 books this year or 30 books. I read 4 books a month. That's not an accomplishment. I mean, you're kind of just like skimming through information and thinking it's a race when it's actually more of a it's more of a I would say relationship with a book as opposed to just like an experience with a book. So having a relationship with that book, each time you read a book as well, you're at a new level of understanding and consciousness. So the same information will hit you differently. You understand a bit more, and that's the beauty of books. You can read one book at one age, and you read it a few years afterwards, and it'll be a whole different book, right? So um, that's something you have to start to understand. So, just every moment that you do read something, you're always changing, whether you want to or not. You're becoming a new person every single moment, every single second, either from your environment, from your five senses, consciously affecting that, or affecting that with your mind, and the thoughts that you want to have, and creating that person in the fifth dimension and following that person, like I mentioned in another video, your ideal self. So this we have to start to understand, have this habit. You can start now. The books that you are reading, just make a pact with yourself. I will not buy any more books until I really implement what I'm reading here, because we don't have an education problem, we have an application problem. And essentially, you can buy as many books as you want, but the point is you have to actually apply what you're reading. One good lesson is, if you can YouTube this. There's actually a guy that had like a record of reading, like, I don't know, like 1,000 books. I don't remember, I forget the number, but like hundreds of books. he just read his whole life, and you could see nothing applied because he's still in the same place. And essentially, the measure of education is how if is how the measure of education of a man or anybody in general is if they can get what they wanted in life without stepping on anybody to get there. That's a true measure of intelligence and education. And people in the past have been basically trialed in terms of education. You could see with Henry Ford. They basically put him on trial, and people were asking him basically stupid questions with like nothing to do with his occupation, what he was trying to do. Questions of like, wars that happened in the past, and basically stupid facts. And essentially, he silenced them all by saying, this information is not, it's general knowledge, is not specialized knowledge. Specialized knowledge is basically what got me to, what I have in this life. And if I needed any general knowledge, I would just hire the people. And I have enough people that know what I don't know, and I can essentially, at the click of a button, access those people and be able to get that information. So, do I really need to know this stuff? And basically, he just basically won the battle there, just basically trying to prove that he's stupid, but essentially he has what he wants, and he was able to accomplish what he wanted. So, is he really stupid? No. So the point is, get the knowledge you need, apply it, and then your true measure of intelligence and you learning something is if you actually change. So essentially, I think Mosley talks about this as well. Is um, you learning something is you changing based on a certain behavior, changing your behaviors based off a certain situation. So if you reply to a certain situation a certain way, and after you read something, the same situation comes up, and you still reply the same way and behave the same way, that you haven't learned anything. So essentially, learning is being able to change your behavior off a past situation differently, and that's essentially when you learn something and really internalize it. So short video, more or less, but just something to keep in mind. Study books, don't just read them. Treat them like textbooks. Actually internalize them, and make the pact to study a few books. Don't buy any more. Just make sure you really internalize the information of the good books. Pick one or two or three. Read those for like a year, even 2 years, and really internalize them. And you'll see a big difference in terms of the information and the thoughts you're able to start internalizing in your mind and start using and applying for the goal you want to achieve or the person you want to be. So hope this has helped. Like I said, you can find me on Instagram at Mr. Daniel Arce. Like and subscribe if you like the video, and see you on the next one. Keep killing it.